What's happening, guys? Back at you with another video. And in this video, I'm going to be listing off the top 10 movies of 2019. So let's get to it. Alright, so 2019 was a very interesting year for movies. So I've been wanting to do this list for a while, but I haven't been able to get around to it. So I'm finally being able to do it. So for this list, I'm going to be listing off the top 10 movies of 2019. These are movies I believe, in my opinion, were the ones I thoroughly enjoyed this year. And a little disclaimer, I will say that I have not seen every single movie that came out in 2019. That also includes a couple mainstream ones that y'all might think of. So this list is based only on the movies that I've seen from 2019, and I have not seen every single one of them. So this will basically be the list of movies that I've seen and just my opinion overall, the ones I thoroughly enjoyed this year. Alright, so first up on the list, I want to start off with an honorable mention. So honorable mention I gotta say for this year for me will be Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now I would say this was wasn't necessarily a movie that you would watch mainly for the story. Well, if this movie, the way I would describe this movie is that this movie was like more action packed, and if it's a movie more towards an action person that would like watch this movie just for the action itself and not typically the storyline that they were going with. If this movie was more of a movie that you see, like if you want to be seeing big monster fights and not really worry about a story or something, then this was the movie to watch, in my opinion. The story slightly lacking, but the action scenes and battles in the between the big monsters and all that were pretty good. So that's why I leave it as an honorable mention. All right, now getting into the actual top 10 for this year for me. First off, we're going to start with, and this is, I will say this is in no particular order. So this is not like ranked from 10 to like number 1. This is just basically in general for me, top 10. So it's not necessarily ranked. So to start off with, I would say one of the ones I enjoyed this year will be Hobbs and Shaw. So this is the Fast and the Furious spin-off movie, and I gotta say, for like, if you consider it as a Fast and Furious movie, this didn't really fly into the actual Fast and Furious mode to because to where when I watch Fast and Furious movies at this point in time, with the way they are, I find them a little bit ridiculous and I kind of laugh at them. But with this movie, it felt a little bit different. The banter between Rock and Jason Statham were pretty good in the movie. Pretty good, some pretty good action scenes. Story was all right. I wouldn't say it was one of the best storylines, but it was all right for the movie. And Idris Elba did a pretty good job as the villain also. So just all that together, I would say that that's what brought the movie more enjoyable for me. And honestly, I just the chemistry between The Rock and Jason Statham, like their banter between each other was pretty good, and it really excelled in this movie. So that's why I gave it. That's why I went ahead and put it on this list. All right. So next up on the list, I decided to go ahead and go with John Wick Chapter 3: Parabellum. So this was definitely a movie I enjoyed. I enjoyed all the John Wick movies so far. Seeing the first one when it came out, it was an unexpected hit, and seeing the second one was really good. This third one is definitely good also. Like the action scenes in there, Keanu Reeves does an amazing job with the role in this movie, and he's been doing an amazing job with the John Wick movies. Definitely cannot wait for the fourth one to come out. And this movie was just overall high action and great action scenes, pretty good story, and this is a great addition to the John Wick movie franchise. All right, moving on with our list, I'm going to go with Spider-Man: Far From Home. So, Spider-Man: Far From Home was definitely had to be one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. Definitely a great story. I like the villain they used in this movie with Mysterio, and definitely just overall good story. I like the way it was, especially after Avengers Endgame. and just the way it picked up the story afterwards, and overall just great acting from everybody. And honestly, I just really enjoyed this movie. Another movie that I'm gonna go with for this top 10 is going to be Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu was, I gotta say, one of my favorites this year. I highly enjoyed the movie. I gotta say this was definitely a good movie. Definitely a good idea that they did. So we get our first live action look at how Pokemon could be done, and I gotta say they knocked it out the park with this one. And honestly, too, it's like pretty much adapted from a video game. So honestly, in my opinion, this probably is one of the best video game movies out there, since it was technically adapted from a video game. So I gotta say, they knocked it out the park with this one. Definitely a pretty good story. Ryan Reynolds really was the star of this movie with his voice as Pikachu, and I just gotta say, definitely amazing job, and I cannot wait to see more live action Pokemon movies just because of this one. So they definitely did a great job with it. All right, so another movie I'm gonna go with for this year was Shazam. Shazam was definitely a different kind of movie as far as the DC universe goes. You didn't get your typical good movies going throughout. A lot of people have been here and there on the DC universe movies. I would say arguably that Aquaman was pretty good. Wonder Woman was pretty good. I kind of liked Batman v Superman. And this one was definitely a different kind of mold than what you would expect from a DC Universe movie. This one was more lighthearted. You had comedy in there, and it wasn't too aggressive in action. And honestly, overall, just a pretty good movie, good family fun, and definitely like the comedy and a little bit of action in there, not too much, but definitely the lightheartedness and comedy shine through in this movie, and they really did a good job with it. Another movie that I'm gonna go with this year, definitely was a movie that I didn't expect to actually necessarily watch at that time or even really like it, but honestly, I gotta say, after seeing it and just what they've been doing with the other remakes of movies, and honestly, I gotta say, this was probably one of the best ones as far as improving on the source material, the original source material, which was being the animated movie. I would say it improved upon it, and that's what made it better for me. So, one of the movies I'm gonna go with for this year is going to be Dumbo: Story of the Elephant That Can Fly. I gotta say, I didn't necessarily enjoy the animated movie that much. It's a good animated movie and all that, but I won't say it's one of my favorites. But I gotta say, after watching this Dumbo live action remake, I gotta say I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. They were able to improve upon the animated movie. I gotta say this was a great story. Had sad parts in there, had happy parts in there. So overall, it was a great live action remake that Disney was able to do, and honestly, I put it on here because it was able to improve upon the original animated movie, unlike the other ones that came out this year. So I just gotta say that's why I put it on my list. Another movie that I'm gonna go with for this year, I gotta say, is Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 was definitely originally hearing about Toy Story 4 a while back. I was not necessarily 100% on board with it, but I was like, let's see what they could do with it. Because, in my opinion, Toy Story 3 was an incredible, amazing, epic conclusion to the Toy Story franchise. And honestly, I was ready for it to be that the Toy Story 3 being ready for it, that to be the conclusion of it, the Toy Story story. But then they announced Toy Story 4, and I honestly wasn't 100% up on board with it. But as time progressed and seeing trailer after trailer and getting closer to the release date, I was like, okay, I'm getting more on board with this. Let's see how this turns out. So after seeing Toy Story 4, I gotta say, it was a great story. The way it was able to, I don't know if this was necessarily tying up the Toy Story franchise, but the way it was able to cap off on the ending and on everything, the whole story throughout the movie. I gotta say they did a good job with it. I won't say I enjoyed it more than Toy Story 3, but I would say it's definitely on par with the other Toy Story movies. being good. It definitely was a good ending. Definitely had some feels with it, and I just gotta say, overall, it was a good job as a movie. All right, so another movie that I'm going to put on my list is going to be Alita: Battle Angel. So this movie was definitely unexpected one that I also saw this year. But I gotta say, after seeing it, I definitely like the story, definitely like the movie, and definitely hope they make the next part to this movie because it was definitely good. I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely was a surprise hit for me this year, and also considering since it came from an anime, and usually and movies that are adapted from anime necessarily don't turn out too good. But I gotta say, this one actually turned out pretty good. Their overall story was pretty good. I liked it, and a lot of great action scenes in the movie. So I gotta say, I can't wait for the next part if they do it. Hopefully, they can. All right, next movie up on my list is going to be Joker. Joker was amazing, amazing movie. I highly enjoyed the movie. Joaquin Phoenix gave an amazing performance as the Joker in this movie. Overall, the story was great. It was epic. Um, like I said, Joaquin Phoenix for the role was definitely pretty good. Upon hearing that he got the role, I definitely was excited to see what he would bring to the character. He did an amazing job, knocked it out the park for me, and overall the movie was amazing, really good. One of my favorites this year. That's why I had to put it on this list. All right, so next movie that I put on the list is no surprise, Avengers Endgame. Endgame was, in my opinion, a masterpiece. But I gotta say, it's a masterpiece because of what this story told. We got the epic conclusion to a 22 film saga, and I just gotta say they knocked out the park with this one as far as the conclusion goes. I would say that it's a masterpiece because of its predecessors and movies. If we did not get the other movies in Marvel Cinematic Universe, this movie would not work. But I just gotta say, knocked out the park with this one. Great action scenes, a great story. Overall, the emotion of this movie was amazing, and as I gotta say, definitely one of my favorites this year. Definitely was my favorite this year, and honestly, just amazing overall movie. All right, but that's going to do it for my list for the top movies of 2019. Like I said before, I've not seen every single movie that came out in 2019. That does also include some mainstream ones that I have not just gotten around to seeing yet. So this list may not be this. You may not necessarily agree with this list, but these are just the movies that I thought were the ones that I kind of liked, the ones I kind of enjoyed this year. And like I said, I haven't seen every single one this year, so that's my list, and definitely would like to hear y'all list down in comments below. What did y'all like? What do y'all think were some of the best movies of 2019? Which ones did y'all enjoy? Which ones were y'all favorites? So definitely let me know down in comments below. But that is going to do it for this video. Hope y'all all enjoyed it. Remember, if you want to be a part of Team Legendary, all you got to do is subscribe and turn notifications on so you know when I post another video. Hope you all have an awesome day. And remember, be legendary.